Cool. Stephanie says, absolutely love the email part segment. Cool. Yeah, and it's just the automation stuff that really just helps right there. It helps you actually just automate your emails from one list to the other. So that way you don't have to send them a prospecting email message. You can send them an automated message based off them buying. Because like I said, you got to kind of treat the two a little bit different. It's marketing. It's not necessarily sales. It's more marketing type of thing. And what I was getting into before that was like that push and pull thing. Well, online mainly you have to really, it's hard to push people into stuff online. It's easier to pull them through. And most of the people, 85% of the people actually get pushed through by, kind of like, I would almost want to say like a scare tactic or taglines or hot like words, like certain words actually pull people through messages. So you got to have some sort of copywriting skills, or you can go online. You can say like top headlines. You could quickly do a message on Google. I could even go and just look to see what it pops up and gives me as an idea. But let me put a hot headlines. Let's just see what it pops up for me, and I'll share with you guys what it does. But that's basically what it is you got to have these headlines that pull people through in your subject line. So let's see here. I got one that says hot air headlines. I don't know what that means. So there's all kinds of stuff on here for headlines. I'm probably looking it up right. Let me do sales copy headlines. See what pops up for me. 9 proven headline formulas that sell like crazy. So there's one idea of a good headline, and actually I'll talk a little bit about that right now, because it was actually part of the stuff that I wanted to kind of go over with you anyway. Is how do you get open rates? Because right now I just kind of gave you an idea of automation and segmentation, but what actually gets people to open up their email is subject headlines. Subject headlines, okay? There's certain ways that you can have certain subject headlines. What do people like to see? What resonates with people? The first thing that popped out to me when I looked at this one on Copy Blogger's website is 9 proven. So they have the word 9 and proven. People like to know that there's a number there. So if you have like top, so like for prospecting, like top 10 yoga mats, top 10 yoga mats and why they suck. Okay? And if you can find anything on why they suck, people might actually open that up. They'll say like, they're going to be thinking to themselves, well, I'm a yoga mat buyer, but then they get this email, this headline. You could even use these little parentheses, top 10 yoga mats and why they suck, right? And why they suck. So people are going to go like, well, why do they suck? They want to know. And then when they open up, you'll have like 10 little bullet points. And don't use names of products. Like, I'm not saying like to use the names of the products, but say like the original. You could even turn it into kind of a joke, right? You could say like the original yoga mat was sticks and straws, right? Right, it was sticks and straws, and then the world evolved a little bit, and then, or like it became rocks and pebbles. So that could be the first one. Let's say that was the first one, rocks and pebbles. All right, then sticks and straws. And then you could kind of go down, then you could go like, oh, and then there was a mat, but it was actually people's feet mat, right? You want to kind of have fun with your audience, right? It was their feet mat, and that people just put them together, something like that. And then the last one is this new and approved model. It's going to be this new and improved model, which is going to be the yoga mat that you're selling that you happen to have a 10% discount on for a limited time. Okay, 10% discount, limited time for them to get into it. They opened it. The headline is what opened it. The other thing you can do with headlines is you can also do an A/B split test. Why would you do an A/B split test? Well, let's say that you had a 200-person list of yoga people, prospects, not buyers, prospects. Okay, you had this 200-person list. You wanted to take the first 100 and do a 50-50 split on the headline. So maybe you tried top 10 yoga mats that suck, and then you could have another one that says, all yoga mats suck except this one. They're gonna go, what? Or you could say like, 10 yoga mats tested, or something else. Here's how you come up with headlines, by the way. First off, you could go and find proven headlines. Like you can go to Copyblogger, you can go to all these different places and find these proven headlines, and you can start reading them and start studying headlines, start looking at what's actually pulling you through. But also on top of that, what do the biggest and largest blogging networks do to have such hard-hitting subject lines? Because subject lines is what gets open rates. Then it's obviously the content and the stuff that's on the inside that's got to keep them through and pull them through into a sell. But what is that subject line? What's that headline? What is it that is pulling them through? Well, I know like BuzzFeed, which is one of the largest blog networks in the world, they do 100. They have their editors write 100 different headlines before they actually print and publish their topics, and they do it quick, but they have a team of people. They'll have a team of people that'll run through it. So if you're new and you're just getting started on writing headlines, write 100 every single time, and then ask people, which one do you like better? Which one do you like better? And then try to figure out which one you like better, and then do an A/B split test that's going to help you understand what your list likes, and then look at your open rates. Make sure that you look at your open rates. You're going to see inside of your AR, your email autoresponder, you'll be able to see in there that what is going to be what are your open rates for this headline versus that headline. And like I said, if you do the A/B split test, then you can award the winner to whichever one's doing the best on the other 100 people that are left. So on the other 100 people are left, say on this one you had a 5% open rate, and let's say on this one you had a 15% open rate. Now I've heard of, there's ways, and I'll kind of talk about this. There's ways to get higher open rates, but don't be upset if you get a 5% open rate. Don't be upset if you get a 15% open rate, because that matters. That's important. But then the next thing is going to be, what's the click rate? So you'll see which URLs are clicking at, and then you'll see which ones are actually opening. So you can actually go, if this one's 15%, I'm going to put the rest here, and then I'm going to worry about what's in here so I can get that click rate from here. So that way I know that this part is working, and then every person I keep feeding into that list is going to have that automation. So at some point they'll hit this email. This is just one example of an email, and making sure that you're optimizing your email the best that you possibly can. Okay? Are you guys getting this? Are you guys following this? Does this make sense? I honestly hope it is definitely making sense for you guys. Who else do we have? We've got Joshua Darville. He says, is this really live? Yes, Joshua Darville, this is really live. Robert says, do you have a preferred autoresponder? Robert, I have tried almost all of them, okay? I've tried almost all of them, and I'm still gonna try some new ones in the future. They all have flaws. They all have pros and they all have cons, okay? I still use quite a few of them. Even the ones I've been using, I still have a MailChimp account, but that's definitely not the account that I use to push to use for my email marketing campaigns necessarily. I might use it for some physical product stuff. They're really good on that end, on the physical product stuff. They're really good at the if you're gonna do like the newsletters that I was talking about, because they actually don't even look at themselves as an email autoresponder. They look at themselves as a newsletter autoresponder. So make sure you look at their terms of service, or TOS, when you get a chance, when you are picking who you want to use. But that's how MailChimp works. There's more people jumping into the physical product end, so MailChimp isn't going to be necessarily the one to go. That's just the one we happen to be using currently. On top of that, I use another one which I actually really I'm starting not to like, and I don't like to throw them through the bus, but my open rates have gone to crap with them, and I've tested all of these different things. And so open rates can also have a lot of other things associated with it. You know, if it's all based off of the, like, remember on our original trainings, we were talking about your online reputation. Well, also too, there's these IP addresses, Internet Protocol addresses, that every single server sits at wherever they're at in the world for whatever autoresponder you're using. Well, if they're not constantly changing their IP addresses and renewing them, and also changing with the internet, how the internet changes, sometimes those IP addresses would go stale, or sometimes even go bad. And if they go bad, once an email goes from, this is the advanced stuff, right? Once an email goes from that one spot where it's at that physical location, and then it's going to fly through and it's going to hit like a Google, another Google server, which is usually where a lot of people open their email from. It's then the Google is going to go, wait a second, who are you? Investigate. Bots are going to go into, or they already know the reputation because they've already investigated. If it's new, then they're definitely checking it out, and they're definitely maybe even sending that email into your spam. The other thing is that you yourself, there's new rules that have come out that you have to use your own domain name. So you have to be careful and make sure that your own domains stay clean, and pay attention that they are clean. Or if they're not, then you might want to think about switching to another one and using a different service. That way you can try to keep your domains clean, because for whatever reason, because of all this crazy stuff with email, with the anti-scam, spam can stuff, and the stuff that's going up in in Canada and stuff like that. I don't know if any of that's really we're gonna be affected by it, but I do know that people, for whatever reason, even if they're on your list, guys, there's people on my list every day, and I email them. Like, for instance, even this event, I've been emailing people for free, giving these people free value, and they're like, I never gave you permission for my email for this content. Come on, man, really? You don't want my free content that's going to teach you how to make more money online? You came onto my email list because you were interested in that stuff. So no matter what you do, what you say, even if it's free, even if you're selling something, people are still going to hit this report abuse button. And then when they hit that report abuse button, it's up to your AR company. Your AR company might flag you, pause your account, tell you, hey, you need to investigate this. You need to write a report about this. Some of the big ones that understand this and are definitely really trying to protect their IP addresses, they will do that. But they might not necessarily report you to the next level to where your stuff is getting in trouble. But those things actually affect your open rates, because what happens is when it hits Google or Yahoo or MSN or whoever you're using, once it hits that area and they recognize it as a bad IP address of some sort, then you go into the spam box, and then you get lost in la la land. Your messages don't get open. You don't get those open rates that you were hoping to get, because the prospect never even had a chance to see it. They never even had a chance to see the subject line that's hard hitting and is going to pull them through into your message, and then hopefully have them transact. Now think of everything as a transaction, every single little movement. That's why you want to measure those things, and that's why you want to keep testing it, because you're going to continue to get better at it the more and more you do it. It just becomes repetition, and you become that unconsciously competent person the next time you write your next thing. Now you might say, like that, you might be looking at this too as a lot of work. Guys, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Rome took a lifetime, literally, for that time to build. So it's the same thing with your business. Maybe you set aside 1 hour a day to write some sales copy. Maybe you do that for your list. You're going to put yourself in your list shoes. You're going to ask yourself, what are my problems? How can I solve these problems? What are these people, what are the solutions for these people? You're going to step inside those shoes and in those minds, and then you can write copy. You can write what you think is going to influence them, and then you can split test it. And if you're not good at that, like me, I'm not the best. I'm not very good at necessarily at writing sales copy, but it's something that I'm striving to get better at. And I use software all the time. I use software pieces that write sales copy, and I don't copy their sales copy, okay? What I do is I use the software, I build the avatars, I build everything I need so that fits my prospect, and then when it shoots me out, when it gives me the actual sales copy, then I rewrite it. And then I'll use that as a template. I'll use those things as templates and as ideas for me to write my next piece that I might be coming into. If I find another product that I think is going to be really good, that's going to resonate well with this people, then I can do it. So that's how you would do an actual sales copy. I mean, how you'd write subject headlines, some ways to get better open rates, some ways to get better click-through rates, and then how you can do it. So this is just one way to do it, guys. One way is to exactly give them a number. So you give them a number. Let me go ahead and clean this one up. I want to make sure you guys are getting it. Joshua says, this is really live. Or no, I don't know if you're still asking the question. How are you doing the scrolling marquee lower third? Joshua, I'm using a software called, I'm big on software if you're new to me. I'm using a software called Mimo Live. Yeah, it's called M-I-M-O-L-I-V-E. It has all kinds of cool things you can do, just to let you know. Also, too, we want to get a winner. So let's go ahead and announce a winner real quickly as we're going through this email marketing strategies, email marketing advanced stuff. Squeaky, huh? You know what's kind of cool about this whiteboard is that I bought it on Craigslist. Craigslist, this is probably like a $1,200 whiteboard. Whoops, I don't think I meant to get rid of those ones, but oh well. This is a $1,200 whiteboard, but it was used. And it was actually used in a beautician school where they taught people how to do hair and coloring and all that stuff. So I actually found it on Craigslist, and it was like, I don't know, it's probably a $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 whiteboard. I think I paid $50 for it. So you guys could easily build a home studio just like this for probably under $1,000. Let's talk about what another type of email campaign would be. So another thing is, and it really helps with your email messages, is to be incredibly direct. Don't be full of fluff. Obviously, it's good to have some sort of personal message, because really people buy into stories, and they buy you, not just your products. They buy into you when they decide to buy from you, because it all comes down to know, like, and trust, and respect and trust. Trust and respect is so big. So once they fully respect you and trust you, they're going to start opening up their pocket. So one thing is you can state benefits of your products. So really elaborate and get into the type of product you have. And you could start that out with some of your headlines themselves. Like remember I said like firm, or like best air cushiony yoga mat on earth, free test or free try, using keywords like free test, free try. The other thing that's good is to have, have announcements, okay? An announcement email like, hey, here's an announcement, guys. This is Carl, the Shark Sugar, and I'm announcing that I'm gonna be traveling to many different cities. I'm gonna be going to Montreal, like I did today, right at the very beginning. Going to Montreal, going to LA, going to Atlanta, going to New York, going to Phoenix, then going to Vegas, literally all together. I'm going to have a few little breaks in between, but almost all together, I'm going to be going nonstop to all these events. So that could be a really good announcement for people on my list to say, hey, why don't you join me? Are you going to be around at any of these places? If you're going to be around, let's go meet. Let's go have a mastermind together. Let's see if I can help you for your business. That would be a really welcoming, rewarding type of email. It would resonate pretty good with my list, so I'll probably actually do it. So I was just kind of thinking about that on the end, is so an announcement. Also too, what is something else other people like? They like how to. So like if you wanted to show like how to do, if we were sticking on the yoga niche, if we were to do something like how to do, downward dog, you've been doing downward dog wrong all along. That kind of rhymes, but you could say something like, have you been doing downward dog all along wrong? Try to say that 5 times fast. So basically you have that, right? You could say that in your headline. People are going to be immediately like, what is this? And then on there, it's like how to do, your agastaguash or whatever it's called. I can't even say it, but how do you say, how do you do each of these things? And then you put a video together that you did yourself. How personal is that? And you're doing it on your beautiful yoga mat that you happen to sell. And then you could, at the end of it, you just gave them some information, and you gave them some knowledge, you gave them some value, you served first, right? So serve first, sell second. So you've served them some knowledge, you've talked about it, then at the end you talk about how great this yoga mat is and why it actually improves your strength, your balance, your form, stuff like that, and how you should get it. You should take advantage of one of these before we do a public launch or something like that. So that's just some ideas on that. One thing I have written down here is provocative questions. So a lot of people like to have they have like a question, a dying question. So if you could figure out what your customer's dying question is inside. So if they have if you could start with a question like, if you know they're passionate about something, let's say they're passionate about frogs. Okay, you could say how passionate are you about frogs? Question mark. In here help us achieve our goal. So that might actually create a provocative question. It might create a lot of interest or concern even, right? So you can actually go, you get an open rate and you would say like, what's this about? And it'd be like, right now we're running a special. We're trying to save the frogs in Africa. This particular frog is not doing very well. Or it could be to save the bees. Like, we got so many things we're trying to save, right? Save the turtles, save the whatever. Okay, whatever it is, they're people that are interested in that stuff are very passionate. So they're gonna have a good open rate. And also think of this stuff too. When you're doing your ads are almost the same thing as doing your doing your email. But the difference is you own the email list and you own that traffic if you just know how to drive them. Once you own the list because you're segmenting the list, then you can drive them into the traffic.